Hello everyone, welcome to Philatelics. My name is Jack, and in this inaugural video, I wanted to share with you a pretty cool cover and just a little bit of the history behind it. First, let me share a little bit about myself. I started collecting stamps and postal history in 2019 after I had stumbled upon some stamp collecting YouTube videos, in particular the videos made by Graham from Exploring Stamps, and then in a twist of fate happened to find a bag of postage stamps in an arts and crafts store the very next day. I took that as a sign that I should probably check them out. Sorting through them was a lot more fun than I had thought, and thus I was hooked. Seeing how welcoming the online community was, and after a long delay from when I'd planned to start in 2020, I was inspired to start my own philatelic YouTube channel. Now, I like to call this an animated cover. Animated in the sense that I'm just redrawing what is already on the cover, and then bringing some life back into this piece of history. That being said, let's take a look at what we have here today. It reads, "This cachet, sponsored by Miami Chamber of Commerce, commemorating 5th Annual Miami All-American Air Races," with a nice image in the cachet with a big star. Miami, Florida, January 5th, 6th, and 7th, 1933. And then the handwritten address going to Reading, Pennsylvania. And then the CDS, or the circular date stamp, reads Miami, Florida, January 5th, 1 p.m., 1933. So let's first talk about the All-American Air Races, in particular the 5th Annual All-American Air Races that we see here on this printed design, also known as a cachet. So the Florida State Archives has this cool photo of planes in the air along with a very interesting guest. The inscription, or the general note that the State Archives provides, says, quote, "Photographed during the 5th Annual Miami All-American Air Races, January 7th, 1933. The highlight of the 1933 All-American Air Races was the Akron," end quote. Now, the USS Akron, named after the city in Ohio, was the impressive guest, or the interesting guest, to fly by the air show. The Akron was actually a floating aircraft carrier, which would explain the large number of planes alongside it. Until reading the title of the photograph, I actually thought they were part of the air race, being able to fly next to the Akron. The actual quote is, "Airship Akron leaving for Cuba with bomber escort." It must have been amazing to attend an already interesting event, if you like airplanes, to then be visited by a flyby of this massive airship. Before coming across this cover, I didn't really know much at all about the Akron or its troubled history, but what stunned me the most was its fate only a few months later. The Florida State Archives, the general note there, also adds, quote, "The huge Navy dirigible was destroyed the next spring in a storm off the coast of New Jersey." Being a New Jerseyan, my interest was immediately piqued. The ship crashed on April 4th, 1933 off the coast of Barnegat Light, New Jersey, which is a part of Long Beach Island, if you're familiar, in South Jersey. Maybe in a future extreme philately video, we can visit Barnegat Light and explore the history of the Akron further. Now, the actual cover itself, I learned, is called a postal stationery envelope, and like most other philatelic objects, has some sort of classification to it, which would explain why someone wrote UC7 in pencil in the top left corner. The 8 cents US postage airmail marking is actually embossed into the cover. The airmail saves time. Cancellation is perfectly fitting for the event, especially with the bomber escort of the USS Akron that was to arrive on the last day of the air races. So that would have been January 7th. This was canceled on January 5th. So hopefully, whoever this was sent to got to witness the show, or whoever sent the cover was able to witness the Akron 2 days later. Something else I should mention about the cancellation date, January 5th, 1933, it was also the date construction started on the iconic Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, California, which happens to be not too far from where the American Philatelic Society is hosting the Great American Stamp Show in Sacramento this week. This to me is the really fun part about philately and postal history, finding the stories within and around the objects. If I hadn't found this cover, I likely wouldn't have researched the Akron. I probably wouldn't have known about the 5th Miami All-American Air Races, and I may not have researched the different types of postal stationery. This kind of cover, the ones that aren't necessarily rarities, that have a pretty cool story behind them, are why I want to make these YouTube videos. That being said, thank you for watching this short episode, and I look forward to seeing you in episode 2 here on the Jet Philatelics channel.